Episode 4 of The White Lotus starts out with some huge moments. Not to mention some really fun scenes of the girls, more of the Ratliff family continuing to just be so strange, and Belinda continuing to ponder just why Greg looks so familiar. Let's talk about episode 4 of The White Lotus. So let's talk right away about the opening scene where Jacqueline is attempting to get a hold of her boo Harrison. It's a pretty small moment, but I think it is a very revealing moment. It seems like maybe things are not going completely well between these two. That could possibly be the reason that Jacqueline took this vacation in the first place. Is there trouble going on in paradise? Is that the reason that she can't get a hold of him on the phone? Something to question. Tim is continuing to spiral downhill in this episode. He really did one hell of a 180, didn't he? He went from saying that he does not believe in taking drugs to taking all of his wife's pills and being constantly in a state of high. In fact, he's so whacked out lately that he doesn't even realize in this episode that his robe is about to become undone, and when he shifts his weight, oh boy, those poor kids. That's something you're not going to forget anytime soon. But how many people paused and zoomed in just to see if it's real, just to find out? I was pretty curious. I did not do that though. Or did I? And damn it if Saxon doesn't continue to be so annoying. This guy is just, he is the epitome of that toxic high school jock, the guy that really thought every girl liked him, everybody wanted to be near him. He thinks that everybody just is so into him. He thinks he's got everything in life figured out and that his brother Lockley should aspire to be just like him. I really wish Lockley would stand up to him and be like, look dude, I get that you're a great brother and you want to do things for me to try to make me in your image, but I am my own person and I am not like you. That's what I want, because it really does seem like Saxon is doing everything he can to try to make his brother follow in his footsteps, make him in his image. And he even complains to his sister about not letting her get into his head. He doesn't want him becoming somebody who is asexual, which, come on, that's like, so what? Who cares if Lockley decides to be gay? Who cares if Lockley decides that he wants to be asexual? It's none of your business. It doesn't make him any less of a man. But what is less of a man is Saxon and his disgusting, toxic masculinity. Elsewhere, Chelsea seems like she might have finally got a bit of honesty out of Rick because he confides in her, all right, fine. I am here because my mom told me the guy who is responsible for my dad's disappearance is the owner of this hotel, therefore the husband of Shritala. And he has a look of vengeance in his eyes. So I was wrong. I don't think he's necessarily an assassin. I do think he's thinking of killing this guy, but ultimately I don't think he's going to because of the therapist. That's right. I think that she might have actually gotten through to him. He's maybe going to realize, at least I hope he realizes, that getting even with this guy or causing some kind of physical pain to this man, killing this man, well, that's not going to change anything about what's going on inside of his heart, inside of his mind. It's not going to change the pain and it's not going to bring his father back. All it's going to do is bring him down to a low, low place. So yeah, I get the feeling that he's not going to go through with it. I don't know about you guys, but I thought the scene where Jacqueline and her friends were walking through the streets getting bombarded by squirt guns was one of the best scenes in this episode. I mean, it was hilarious. It was really reminding me of something my friend's always telling me. He's always like, well, what happens if we walk into a gang of kids? Because I guess kids are known for being in gangs. And this episode kind of proved that kids can be in a gang if they want. Albeit this was a squirt gun gang and they're not really doing anything too harmful, but they were annoying them and that scene was gold. I just thought it was funny how at first the girls were like, okay, please stop doing that. I don't want to get wet. Oh my God, please stop doing that. I'm getting angry now. Just suddenly they are just completely soaked. Everybody on the street seems like they're shooting those squirt guns at them and they are just totally soaked, and by the end they're laughing. Then they run into that store, they're trying to hide from the kids, but they look out the window and they see that the kids are still waiting. They are planning on getting them if they go through that front door. It was almost like a little bit of a horror movie, kind of like Children of the Corn, but that scene, it was really funny. It was really great to see the girls having a little bit of fun and not talking shit about each other for once. It's clear to me that something is going on in Jacqueline's personal life. I do think that the reason that she is on this vacation, why she's so desperate to have a fun time, is to take her mind off of whatever's going on at home. people just need vacations. And just because she is a celebrity, likely someone who is extremely wealthy, we all know they say money doesn't buy happiness, so she could very much be very unhappy. By the way, I have not personally found out that money doesn't buy happiness, so if somebody wants to just send me boatloads of money so I can confirm, I would be totally on board. But I gotta be honest, I am a little bit concerned about these 3 guys that these girls are hanging out with because I got a weird vibe from them. They're overly friendly. They got these girls that are just in the mood to have a fun time. That's ripe for getting taken advantage of. So hopefully they're not planning any funny business. I just had this bad feeling like, okay, these girls, they might get possibly robbed. Let's hope that's not the case. Belinda finally learned about Tanya's death and now has the proof that Greg is absolutely not Gary. He could have picked a different first letter for his new fake name. Not to mention, it's pretty clear that he's in hiding because as she reads in the news story, he was wanted and questioning for Tanya's death, but he vanished. So you can imagine that Greg, having worked so hard to get the money and the wealth that he has, well, he is not going to be at all on board with Belinda continuing to investigate him. It does seem like she is on his radar just as much as he is on hers. Only he has a history of violence, so that's not good for Belinda. We saw him looking at her Instagram page, particularly at a picture of her son, someone that we have not seen since episode 1, but we know that he is on his way to this resort to visit his mother. Is that going to put him on a collision course with angry, spiteful Greg? And speaking of Greg, didn't it seem like that yacht that everyone was hanging out with looked pretty familiar? Sure does seem like he's enjoying the fruit of his labor. It was pretty cool seeing all these different couples from the series finally uniting in one place. You can see that the Tim Ratliff sure is not on board with being near Rick. The mom is not on board with being on that ship at all because she has like bad social anxiety and her meds are missing. And Saxon's just so focused on getting his brother to become a toxic sleazebag that he doesn't even notice that his dad is just going through some shit. It seems like I might have been wrong about Guy Tot getting fired. At least with this conversation that he had with his boss. Because it turns out all they really wanted to talk about was that recent robbery and how it's time for him to learn how to use a gun so that they can prevent future crime. But Guy Talk is really into Mook, and every time that girl comes around, his heart starts to flutter, and he made a really bad call. He ended up leaving that gun unlocked and on the table in open visibility of Tim, who just found out from his phone that he is absolutely fucked. He demanded his phone to get back, and as soon as he got his phone back, it started buzzing off the hook. He has now been told that prison is very much going to be happening for you, and he is like, I would rather die than go to prison. Is that why he took the gun? I don't know, but it's not great. It's not great for him. It's not great for Guy Talk. It's probably not great for anybody. So we've got Belinda on a collision course with Greg, Tim looking like he is spiraling out of control and he is going to be going to prison. Is he going to do something stupid as a result of this cataclysmic event in his life? And Jacqueline and her friends hanging out with 3 random guys who I'm hoping aren't going to do anything naughty. Things are starting to heat up. I really am enjoying this season. I know that some people have been criticizing this season and calling it boring. Well, I feel bad for people that feel that way because this show has never been about fast-paced action. It's not necessarily a fast-paced comedy series either. This show is a character study. The characters in this season are really well written and so interesting. There's just a lot of different complex personalities that are being combined, and it's going to result in what I'm pretty sure is going to be an explosive finale. I'm not just saying that because that's how the first 2 seasons of White Lotus ended, although that is a pretty fair assumption, right? Put your thoughts on this episode in the comments and let me know what you guys are thinking. Let me know what you think of Saxon. I mean, god dang, I want this guy to get punched in the face. It would just be uber satisfying to see that. As always, if you liked this video, go ahead and hit that little like button. And if you want to hear more things from me, subscribe to this channel. Later.